Hi guys, it's Mrs. C here with Cycle 1 Week 4. We are 4 weeks into this year. I can't believe it. It always seems like it's going to be so long and then it goes so fast. So anyway, I will jump right in with what we did today for geography. We had the Hittite Empire. There's only 4 locations this week, so it's really not difficult, especially with having the older kids. We just went through and I had them find each location on their map. And then because they didn't take long and we had our maps still out, we went through and just went ahead and reviewed all of geography at that point. And then once we had gone through all the prior locations, we went back to the locations from today to kind of see if they remembered where each one was. We did Hattusa, and I said it was on top like a hat. We talked about how Asia Minor is now kind of where modern day Turkey is. Where the Arabian Desert, it's between the Red Sea, the Persian Sea, or Persian Gulf, excuse me. And then we found Cyprus, and we made a note that it is not Crete, so where it is in the Mediterranean. So anyway, nothing super special with geography, just having them locate them, going over the names a few times, and then I feel like this age is old enough that throwing in that review for geography doesn't hurt to go ahead and get that out of the way. So that's what we did for geography today. Then I moved into my kids really love trying to sing the whole Preposition Chant song, whatever you want to call it. And so we have one student who's new to CC this year, and then I have 7 other ones who have been in it for several years, but this is I think most of their second time through Cycle 1, so they've only had this one time before, but they really want to learn all of them. So I just copied this straight from my guide. It's in the Memory Master proof sheets, and it has all of the prepositions that we learn in order, and I stuck them in a page protector, and they had markers if they wanted to use them, but we just chanted through them. I am still doing hand motions if they want to do the hand motions. Most of them are too cool for hand motions at this point, but if you are doing hand motions, or if you have the journeyman, then and they might still want to do them. We have before, so you're going to take one hand and kind of move it in front of the other one, so like kind of before, and then when you have that hand facing, you're going to just flip it around and go behind you for behind. Okay, then we have below, and then beneath is going to be even further below your hand. And then beside, you just kind of push it off over to the side with both hands beside. But we've been just chanting all of the prepositions in class. I just really want them to get them all down this year. They all really like doing it. So we've been doing them just normal speed and then seeing how fast we can go through them. Some of them know them really, really well. They don't have to think about it at all, and they can do them as fast as they want. And others of them are still using the sheet to kind of go through them. But this was helpful so that everybody was on the same page and knew what we were saying. Because sometimes, especially when we get to, let's see, of, off, on, sometimes those get jumbled together and you just say off, 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 kind of thing. So this was helping them see all of them. So after we did that, I had them turn this over so it's just blank white on the back, and I had them write out their math facts today. I'm trying to incorporate more kinesthetic things. I always like to do that, and writing out the math facts accesses a different part of your brain. So I had them write those out. I just gave them a couple minutes to do it, as it is a lot to write out, especially if you don't just know them off the top of your head. And then I told them to whisper them to themselves, so they were getting that in. And then I said them through both twice. And then we sang we skip counted for them one time just to kind of do the song, because they like the skip counting songs and they miss singing them, surprisingly. So that's what we did for math. Then I allowed them to keep these out. They erased them, and we did history, and I had them draw one of their favorite 7 wonders. So I had one draw pyramids. Somebody drew the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, but they drew it like hangman with some ferns at the bottom. Somebody did the lighthouse. So I just let them draw while we listened to the song and sang through the song. There are hand motions for that if you would like to use it. So you have the 7, and then you kind of go around like this. Wonders of the ancient world are pyramids of Giza. So it's like a G, like you're getting ready to pinch something. Giza. Then you put your arms up and kind of swing your hands back and forth. Hanging gardens of Babylon. You have the temple of Artemis at Ephesus. And then you have statue of Zeus, and you're just going to kind of make a Z with your hand at O for Olympia. The mausoleum, you're going to go like this. This is the judging, the sign for judging. Mausoleum at an H. It's like this. Halicarnassus. There is lighthouse, so just take your arm around your head like this, like the light going around a lighthouse. At A for Alexandria. And then Colossus of Rhodes. Colossus stood with his hand on his hip and one arm up. So we're going to stand like Colossus and then do an R for Rhodes if you want to do hand motions for that. Again, my kids act like hand motions are the plague, so they don't want to do them. So I haven't really been doing them, but I do sometimes show them to them just to kind of get them in their brain. So that was history. So for timeline today, I brought my timeline cards while they were doing their math facts. Was it math facts or history? One of the two. When they were doing those, I went around and taped cards onto the back of their backs. And then I gave them 1 minute to get themselves in order. So they couldn't see what was on their back. So they had to look at everybody else's back, figure out what was on their back. Other people were looking at their backs, and get themselves in order. Then once they got in order, I took them off their backs. We put them out and made sure they were in the correct order. And again, I'm trying to get them to connect the whole timeline together. So we talked about what came before early Native Americans and then what comes after Lao Tzu, Confucius, and Buddha. Again, if you are doing hand motions, we have early Native Americans. So this is kind of back here and then coming down because of their jewelry and their feathers. Then we're going to have Israel, so the I here, and then it's going to divide into 2 kingdoms. H for Homer, H for Hesiod. Rome founded. R for Romulus, R for Remus. Then we have Israel, so we're going to do our I, and it's going to fall to Assyria, so we're going to raise Assyria up on the other hand. And then we're going to take this hand, Assyria falls to Babylon. The sign for Babylon is actually an L like this because the Babylonian law, well, they were famous for that. You can just do a B if you have smaller kids. If you have the older ones, you can do the actual sign for Babylon. And then Lao Tzu, so we're going to make a P because these were philosophers. So this is what a P looks like. It's kind of a peace sign, but your middle finger touches your thumb. And so we're going to take it and go Lao Tzu. Same sound on the other hand. Confucius. And then because we have time in the song, you're going to bring your hands down and kind of hold your belly for Buddha. And that is timeline. For Latin today, we just chanted through the Latin a few times. They've had it last week. They've had it before, so they knew it pretty well. We actually chanted them on our way down. I don't have a ton of extra space in my class, and for science, I needed a little extra space. So we chanted Latin walking down the hall, all the way down to the foyer where we had a little more space, because for science, we did limbo. I found on Apple Music, there is a karaoke version of the Limbo song. And we sang What Are Some Parts of a Plant Cell to the tune of the Limbo song, and I let them limbo while we were doing it. So the song goes kind of like this. What are some parts of a plant cell? Some parts of a plant cell are nucleus and cytoplasm, vacuole and mitochondria, cell membrane, cell wall, chloroplast and Golgi bodies. What are some parts of a plant cell? Some parts of a plant cell are. And it repeats, I think the one that I found that was karaoke, it repeats 4 times in there. So we said it one time before we went out of the class and just went over each of those. And then we went out and we did limbo, and they seemed to have a lot of fun with that. I don't know if they were completely listening to me singing the whole time, but that's okay. They're allowed to have some fun. If you would like to use it in class, there is a classical acts and facts science one. I can't remember what they're called. I should know that. But they have this. It's card number 7. It has all the parts of a plant cell and kind of a close-up of it. And if you would like to go into a little more detail about what is in a plant cell, you can do that from this card. So that is everything I believe that we did today. I did want to talk just for a second about art and science. So for science this week, if you would like to read from the Indescribable book, we have Pollution Solution, which is on page 200, about pollution that works and goes along very well with our science experiment. The other thing with science that I wanted to just throw out there to you guys is this is an awesome opportunity to talk about, even with just 1 or 2 drops of the pollutant that you're putting into the water, no matter how much you dilute it, it's truly never going to be gone. And so that is like sin in our life. We could commit just 1 sin and then fill and do all good works for the rest of our life, but that still wouldn't get rid of that 1 sin that we have, and that Jesus' blood is the only thing that can cleanse us from that sin. So it's just a really awesome opportunity to connect that back into God and how he is the only one that can actually completely clean us and make us purified. We also talked about the verse, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is lovely. I'm going to forget it now. I could recite it perfectly in class. Whatever is true, what is noble, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, whatever is praiseworthy, if anything is excellent, think about such things. You guys know what verse I'm talking about. I'm totally botching it right now, but I said it in class. So that's the kind of things that we want to be putting into our minds and our bodies. We don't want to be polluting ourselves with other things. So just to tie in for science. And then really fast for art, we're doing abstract art. And this, I didn't use this in the older class, but if you have youngers, sometimes it is hard to keep them occupied the entire 30 minutes. So this is a really awesome book for abstract art. It's called The Noisy Paint Box. It's about Kandinsky, he is a modern artist, so it doesn't completely tie in with the ancient history for this cycle, but it's awesome because it just encourages kids that their art doesn't have to look exactly like everybody says their art should look, and just kind of all about him and how he saw colors and shapes and textures. It's full of a lot of abstract art, and it's just a nice read to the kids maybe while they're working on their own art projects. So anyway, that is everything for this week. I'll be back next week with week 5, and I hope you guys have an awesome weekend, wherever you are when you watch this. Until then, so have a great day, guys. Bye.